Students, welcome to SOURAV classes. My name is Professor Himadri Datta. So in today's lecture, we'll continue our discussion on Hyderabad University MA Economics entrance exam question solution. So today we'll be focusing on 2015 question paper part A. So the question that we'll solve today, there are 5 questions which we'll solve in this video. So the questions are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the question those are we going to solve today are, they are going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these are the 5 questions that we are going to solve today in today's video. So the first question which is given is that the question number 4, it is asked, which out of the following is an example of trade barrier? So which of the following is an example of trade barrier? So is it foreign investment? Surely not. It is delay or damaged goods? Definitely not. Tax on imports or none of the above? So obviously it is tax on imports. So first we have to understand what is trade barrier. See, look, if you know this, we denote X by export and M by import. So when we export any goods to the foreign market, out of that we generate money. So if you sell goods and services to the foreign market, so your income increases, that you generate money out of by selling that goods in the international market. So your income goes up. So when you import any good, you rather purchase, in order to purchase that good, you rather spend money on that good instead of earning anything. So here your income falls. So when your export is more than import, we say that you have your budget, that is you have surplus. We call this surplus. So we call this basically surplus. So what is surplus? When you have more export than import, your income is more than what it would have been if your import would have been more. So the surplus is more here. So we call this surplus. Now, what is trade barrier? Trade barrier is basically when government decides to boost its domestic industries. That is, suppose the consumers are buying goods and services from international market. That is, they are importing goods and services from international market. Because of this, the domestic producers, those who are producing in this country, they are facing losses. So in order to facilitate their business profitability or their profitability, the firm's profitability, what happens is that government imposes either tariff or imposes quota. That is, tariff means what? Tariff means they impose tax on import. That is, if you import this amount of good from abroad, you have to pay this amount of tax. So as a result, what happens? As the price of import increases, the demand for import falls. So in an indirect way, that is, the domestic producers, those who are producing goods and services, their products demand increases. So in order to facilitate their benefit, or in order to facilitate their welfare, producers welfare in the domestic country, those who are producing, government imposes either import tax or quota. Quota means you cannot import more than this amount. So that is quota. So whether it is quota or import tax, both fall into the category of trade barriers. So what is trade barrier? Either import tax or import quota. So here in this option C, it is given tax on import. Now tax is import. Tax on import is nothing but tariff. So tax and import is nothing but tariff. So we'll conclude that option C for the question number 4 is the right answer. So we'll proceed further with the next question. In the next question, it is given, which among the following currently has the highest production in India? So at this moment, we are solving 2015 question paper. So in 2015, which among the following currently has highest production in India? Milk, rice, wheat and sugar. So the answer would be, first I will So the answer for question 5 is option D, which is sugar. And in 2015, the highest production in India was for sugar. So the answer is sugar. So it is question number 5. The answer is D. We'll go to the next question. That is the question number 6. So we are already done with 2 questions, question number 4 and question number 5. Now we'll go to question number 6, which is normally if income effect determines or dominates substitution effect in the labor supply decision. So here I'll write it down. Income effect dominates substitution effect in labor supply curve. What happens with wage increases? So if wage increases, what happens? So first there are 4 options given. So first we'll figure out what is income effect and what is substitution effect in case of labor supply curve. See, when a labor decides to supply its labor or to increase its work hours, he basically looks at 2 things. He has 2 things to look for. One is labor and another is leisure. So these are the 2 options he has. Either he will work, that is he will labor, or he won't work and rather enjoy his time, that is leisure. Now leisure has its own utility, that is when you are not working, it has its own utility. Leisure had its own utility. So a worker is always willing to increase its leisure. Increase leisure and always willing to decrease its labor. This is the assumption made in this model to further understand this. Okay, so what happens is that now from here we can understand what is supply, what is income effect and what is substitution effect. See, I'll write down 2 diagrams here. One here and one here. Now in these 2 diagrams what we need is, here we'll write wage, or you can write it real wage. This is real wage and this is labor. Now when wage increases, there are 2 effects. One is substitution effect, another is income effect. Now first we'll look at substitution effect. What is substitution effect? See, when there are 2, like consumer behavior, here also there are 2 commodities. One is labor, one is leisure. One is labor, another is leisure. Now the worker has to decide between these 2. He will either consume labor or consume leisure. Now obviously here also applies the concept of opportunity cost. If wage increases, the opportunity cost for labor also increases. So opportunity cost for leisure increases. So what he will do, he will substitute leisure for labor because the opportunity cost for leisure has increased due to increase in wage. So this is why when wage increases, the workers increases its labor. This is why we get a positively sloped curve. So when we are talking about substitution effect, what happens is that when wage increases, the workers are likely to decrease their consumption of leisure because now they have more income. So if they work, they will generate more wage. So what happens as a result, the labor supply curve becomes positive. That is, when wage increases, people will increase their labor. This is due to substitution effect. Now, there is another effect which is called income effect. So one is substitution effect, another is income effect. Now what is income effect? Income effect is basically when wage increases, its total income increases. So as its total income increases, now he is unlikely to prefer labor over leisure. That is, his wage has increased in a substantial amount that he will prefer leisure because he doesn't need to put too much effort into work. So in that case, the labor supply curve becomes positive. So in case of substitution effect, the labor supply curve is negative. In case of income effect, the labor supply curve is positive. So what I'll do is, I'll write down our findings on the right hand side so that we can incorporate these two findings in one model and we'll find the required answer. So first I'll do it, I'll write down, this is substitution effect. We found the labor supply curve to be positive, and due to income effect we have found the labor supply curve to be negative. So we have found these two important findings. Now what we'll do is we'll incorporate this into one diagram. If you do this, what will happen is that, see, for this reason, when wage increases in the initial periods, the produce as in the initial period due to substitution effect, when people do not have substantial amount of money in their hand. So what happens when their wage increases, they usually increase their labor. So substitution effect is likely to be more dominant in short run than in long run. So in short run, usually what happens? Substitution effect is more. So we get the labor supply curve to be positive. But in long run, as his income has increased to a substantial amount, what happens is that he starts to pay for leisure over labor when his wage increases. So this is the reason why we have found the labor supply curve to be backward bending, because at this level, you see, at this level of wage, his labor is this. At this level, his wage is this and labor is this. After some point, as his wage increases, instead of when his wage increases, instead of he does not increase his labor supply, rather he reduces it because he prefers leisure. So this effect, as you see from here to here, we call it due to substitution effect. And this effect you see here, from here to here, it is nothing but due to income effect. So when income effect dominates, at this region you see the labor supply curve is negatively sloped. When substitution effect dominates, the labor supply curve is positively sloped. Now in this question it is given, normally if the income effect dominates substitution effect, that is income effect dominates substitution effect, the labor supply curve decision, what happens when wage increases? So here the income effect dominates substitution effect. So when income effect dominates substitution effect, the first and foremost thing is we are lying on this position of the labor supply curve. So it is negatively sloped. So what happens is that, so when at this level, if wage increases, which is the question, what happens when wage increases? It is quite likely they will likely to decrease their work. So they will work less. They will work less. So we have found it to be they will. So option C is the right answer of the question number 6. So we have answered question number 4, 5, 6. The answer for question 6 is option C, which is they will work less because their income effect dominates substitution effect. So this was the question number 6. So we'll proceed further with question number 7. So far we talked about question number 4, 5, 6. Now there are 2 more questions which we are supposed to answer in this video, which is number 7 and number 8. So the question number 7 goes like this. If value added at different stage is summed up, the total will be. So if the value added at different stage is summed up, we know it will be equal to GDP. If value added summation of VI, we know it to be GDP. Now there are 4 options given. Whether it exceed the value of final output, this is final output. Whether this exceed GDP, this was the first option. Second option is this, whether it is equal to the value of final product, that is whether summation of VI is like at different stages the value added is summed up, whether it will be equal to GDP, whether it will misinterpret the value of final output, whether it is insufficient to measure the value of GDP, and fourth one is have no relationship with the value of final product, that is they have no relationship. So now which one is the right? As I have already talked about in the beginning of this sum, that is when we sum the value added in different stages, we get nothing but GDP, which is the final output. So the option 2 seems to be the right one here. So we answered the question number 7. So for question number 7, the option B is the right one. Option B, as you know, if you sum the value added at different stages, the total will be equal to the value of final product. So we'll proceed further with the question number 8. So it is given in matrix X of m plus m into n is of full rank. That is matrix X order m into n is of full rank. Matrix order is m into n. Okay, so now it is given where m is not equal to n. Now let y equals to x to the power t into x. Y is given by x to the power t into x. Y is given by x to the power t into x. And z is given by x into x to the power t. And z is given by x into x to the power t. Let RS denotes rank of any matrix S. So there are 4 options given. The first one seems to be the right one, which is x, y and z are of same rank. That is y and z are of same rank. As you know, X is a matrix which has full rank of order m into n. Now in y and z, in both the cases, there is presence of x, which is nothing but full matrix. So we will conclude y and z, they are of same rank. So it was option A. So for the question number 8, the right answer is option A. So today we answered question number 4, 5, 6, 8. I'll repeat the answer which I have just talked about. So for question number 4, the answer was number C. For question number for question number 5, the answer was sugar. For question number 6, the answer was C. For question number 7, the answer was B. For question number 8, the answer was A. So these are the findings which we have done today in the solution for question number 4, 5, 6, 8 from the HCU MA Economics 2015 question paper from part 1. So thank you for watching this video. If you have any query or doubt, I'll be giving you my number. You can directly WhatsApp me on this number, which is 9836 793076, which is 9836 793076. Or you can also go to our website, which is www.souravsirclasses.com. There you will find a lot of other videos like this, and you will get materials to crack Hyderabad University MA Economics entrance exam. Thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day ahead.